since the dawn of my time, aka 2006. Computer technology has always existed. Not in the same way it does now though. I remember it growing up as a magical piece of witchcraft that only resided at my nan's house, where I'd sit and wait literal hours for a turn just to watch some Minecraft. Later on, my curiosity would grow, delving into early coding softwares, becoming the household tech support, and repeatedly watching Back to the Future, wondering what would be next for us. What was promised? That we'd all live on Mars in 2020? We'd all have flying cars, robots would do all the boring stuff, and there'd finally be no worries in the world. Well, it's officially 2026, and breaking news, I am not living on Mars. Unfortunately, I'm still on this dying planet and the societal problems are worse than they were back then. So the question is, what happened? Computer scientists kept pushing the limits until generative AI was marketable. Then due to a fun thing called capitalism, corporate CEOs took this early piece of tech and ran with it, cutting out entire creative teams in favor of a flavorless blend of what I can't even call art, a regurgitated mess of every art piece non-consensually scraped from all corners of the internet. All for what? A millionaire to save a few hundred? So out of curiosity, I drew up this cat, made a poster out of it, and put them up in a local building where fellow creatives live. And then I also posted about it online on an old account and awaited a response. The first artist that contacted me has decided to stay anonymous. They left the message: I personally find generative AI toxic to the creative world. It just rips away the freedom for artists to experience mediums and maybe even hinder the context or the meaning behind their artwork. To see the downgrade of artworks that are centuries years old to something that can just be made up within a minute almost feels like a mockery to artists who really want to make a name for themselves. The second artist to get in contact was Kyla, who mentioned that the demand and cost for RAMs in computer has gone up drastically due to the increasing amount of data centers being built, which in turn makes computers necessary for professional digital artists, graphic designers, etc. inaccessible or just overall more difficult for the average person to get, as if it wasn't expensive enough to build computers before. As well as that, creator Bartek reached out to me to bring up a counter-argument most AI users use, that art isn't accessible for disabled people, and that in turn, AI helps to make it more accessible. I heard an argument one time against this, and the argument followed. Art isn't accessible to people with disabilities, and not allowing them to use AI is ableist. Deaf people can't compose music, blind people can't paint, etc. While at first this seems like a good argument, thousands of people over hundreds of years have proved otherwise. Take Ludwig van Beethoven, deaf, who composed iconic classical music. Take James Thurber, blind, who is a famous cartoonist, writer, and journalist. This is just a few of the thousands, if not millions, of disabled artists that were able to create art without AI. If they can do it, so can anyone else. Not to mention, art is subjective. Art is whatever is perceived as art. If an art style or technique doesn't suit you, try a different one. Whether it's drawing, making music, organizing leaves and patterns, making sculptures from rocks, writing poems. If it's created by a human, it's already better than anything AI can generate. Luckily, I live with two siblings who want to grow up to be artists, so I asked them for their opinions as two people going into the industry. How has the recent development in AI caused concern for you as an artist, especially one starting out going into the industry?
Well, I want to be like an animator or like something like that when I'm older. And with AI making movies now, it's crazy. Like, it doesn't feel human. Well, it's not human, of course. But, like, with movies, artists put so much work into, like, the animation and stuff, and it's gorgeous.
How has it affected your thoughts on becoming an artist in the future or making art?
It kind of worries me about it, because if people decide that that instead of like animation and like stuff like CGI, that if like instead of that they just use AI, creators or like artists like that, they can't practically do that anymore. What worries me a lot.
AI's impact on the art community is only one of the most popular issues among the many with generative AI, such as the gallons of water consumption, the large quantities of energy usage, identity fraud and scams, The dehumanization and sexualization, especially of women online, graphically violent videos targeted towards children at the fault of a corrupt algorithm. Constantly, one after another, the issues seem to grow. Every day is another negative news article, of which everyday people can't differ whether or not is also false, as AI deepfake videos of politicians pour out of the machine to the masses. With all this in mind, you might ask, why hasn't this been shut down? No laws, no regulations, no safety. Why? Because most people use it. And as long as you do, the billionaires will keep making millions to keep the machine mangling every piece of art, writing, music, and film that human beings like you and I pour hours, minutes, and seconds of devotion, care, and actual intelligence into. Yeah, even the little sketchbook doodles. Hours, minutes, and seconds for catharsis a self-proclaimed AI artist will never understand. The pure pride and joy of looking back on your creation, knowing you spent your time and creativity to make every part of the picture completed. Unlike the quick dopamine hit of typing in a prompt and, who would have guessed, getting a version of the thing. A version you spent zero time on with zero humanity in it. A piece of perfected artworks by a collective of creatives, chewed up and spat out onto the floor in front of you, like a mother bird regurgitating a once flavorful meal into the mouth of her child, weak and scared of leaving the nest. If life doesn't already sound like a dystopia, as futuristic Black Mirror episodes become the new Simpsons prophecies, AI is only predicted to grow in size as data centers duplicate like breeding vermin across the globe, draining your local water supply, taking over your favorite apps like Spotify, YouTube, and Google. I mean, what is next for us? Pinterest! Oh, yep, once reclaimed artist haven Pinterest is next apparently. But what I was trying to say is, where are we going? Like I said, this machine is only going because you tell it to, so why not stop using it? I'm not saying chuck your phone out the window and go live in the woods, though the urge is really there sometimes. But we have tons of years worth of analog tech just rotting away in your local thrift stores and charity shops. That'll just contribute to the ever-growing collection of Earth's waste as they go unused. Honestly, just pick up an old CD player. A family member of yours most likely already has one. I just got one off my nan and decorated it to suit me. Get some secondhand CDs and there you go, ad-free music that doesn't support AI and reduces the chance of you doom scrolling, and honestly probably costs less than whatever subscription you were paying before. Instead of YouTube, visit your local cinemas since they're dying out anyways, and art can literally be made with anything, even as extreme as dart and a stick. You don't have to completely cut out all these things. You don't have to do anything I say either, cause free will. There will always be movies on YouTube you can't find in the cinema, or albums that never made it to CD. But I just want you to know, there are always alternatives to these things that are way better to invest your time into. Even if you just use them less, it's still something. Personally, it's helped me feel a lot more present and less isolated in a world where people are so drifted apart. And I think it would just be cool and beneficial for the many reasons I've listed if others would do the same. Plus, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather hope for a cyberpunk future than a continuation of whatever dystopian nightmare we're currently living in.